Hello everyone, my name is Karan Gadhai and my student code is PCM 23464. I am currently pursuing my Masters in Construction Engineering and Management at CEPT University and I'm in my first semester of this 2-year course. This semester's studio focuses on construction project formulation and appraisal. The objective of this studio was to understand the process of feasibility study under which our topic was industrial park. An industrial park is an area zoned and planned for the purpose of industrial development. The proposed project is an integrated industrial growth ecosystem combining infrastructure, industry, technology, and it is located in a very well connected area with access to the Delhi Mumbai industrial corridor. This is a greenfield project with the total cost of rupees 470 crores. It is expected to be fully functional by the end of 2 years. Minimum plot size available in this industrial park is 1300 square yards and size varies till 28,000 square yards. Selling price of plots for the first year is rupees 7,000 per square yard. Total area of the project is 250 acres from which 74% is sellable area, 15% of roads, 1.6 for the parking, 5.4 is for common area and 4% which they have kept for the future expansion. The project provides wide roads of 24 meters and internal roads of 18 meter wide with street lights and parking for the trucks. And the for power supply distribution points are kept at various locations from which the plot owner has to get the connection. In stakeholder management, the first step was identification of stakeholders, under which we identified total 44 stakeholders. Then we categorized them in 8 categories that are client or developer, client's team, consultant, approving authorities, suppliers, contractors, customers, and competitors. So the stakeholders are individuals who have direct or indirect interest in the project. For that, we have prepared a stakeholder register. The first matrix is of power interest. It analyzes the stakeholders' level of interest they have in the project as well as the power that the stakeholder holds. The developer has the highest power and highest interest in the project, so the developer is the final authority to make decisions. That's why need to manage closely. Approving authorities have high power over the project and low interest, so need to keep them satisfied. Consultants have high interest and lesser power than the developer in the project, so consultants can help developer to make decisions. Client's team have high interest and low power in the project, so need to keep them informed. And suppliers and competitors have low power and low interest, so need to keep them monitored. The second matrix is of power influence. This matrix defines the authority of stakeholders in the project and the influence defines the active involvement in the project. The client will be the most influential with the highest authority over the project. Competitor will have less power but medium influence on the project. Contractors will have less power but more influence in the project, that's why keep them informed. And customers have high power and less influence in the project, so keep them satisfied. In risk management, the first step was identification of the risk, under which 73 risks were identified and then further categorized in 15 categories as mentioned. In risk register, risk response to the each risk was given as avoid, transfer, mitigate, accept based on the risk. So the risk could be an opportunity or a threat. If the risk is identified as a threat, then it should be avoid, transfer, mitigate, and the last option is accept. If the risk is an opportunity, then the risk should be enhanced or exploited. The severity of risk was also assessed in the risk register based on the probability of occurrence of the risk in the project multiplied by the impact of the risk in the project. In further risk assessment was done. In risk assessment, evaluation of risk is done to determine the potential impact and chances of occurring on the project. Quantitative values are given based on the probability, consequence, and probability of occurrence in the project. The values provided are used in developing effective strategies. The first matrix is severity matrix of opportunity. The severity matrix helps to define the opportunities that are involved in the risk and that could be used for the success of the project. Despite of all the risk, these opportunities can help us in reducing the cost, time, resources of the project. In this risk, we found out that the cost of the land and ease and accessibility to the site has the highest impact on the project and high probability of occurrence. Operations and maintenance of the infrastructure has the highest occurrence probability and highest impact on the project. Change in industry trends and volatility of demand in the market has low probability of occurrence and high impact. Then comes the severity threat matrix. This matrix helps to define the relationship between probability of consequence based on the quantitative value assigned during risk assessment. The value assigned is based on the occurrence of happening during the project. These risks are given based on the scale of 1 to 5. In this, we found out that most of the risks have moderate probability of occurrence as well as moderate consequence or impact on the project. Earthquakes and the financial failure of the developer has low probability of occurrence as the developer is very established developer, but the impact could be very high. Miscommunication between the stakeholders has moderate probability of occurrence and high impact on the project. The work breakdown structure is a hierarchical decomposition of project deliverables into smaller tasks and tasks into more manageable activity levels. The significant advantage of WBS is that it provides a clear picture of the project in detail. It helps in making schedules and estimates and identifying smaller work packages that can be assigned to groups so that the whole project can be controlled and monitored in detail. In this WBS, we have identified 5 stages. The first one is the inception phase, then planning and development phase, then comes the execution phase, after that closeout phase, and at the last operations and maintenance phase. In inception stage, the inception stage is the initial stage of the development process. This stage is a phase in which the viability of the project is checked. This can be used as a base to further construct the WBS. This stage is further classified into the following smaller processes. We have further classified into smaller stages like land acquisition, project proposal, procurement of feasibility consultant, then various feasibility studies, and then approvals. Then comes the closeout phase. Making a project ready to give over to the client is the project closeout phase. Providing a successful handover also entitles clearing away construction leftovers, organizing the project's documents for transfer, and guiding the owner through building operations and maintenance. Before the owner takes over, any adjustments that needs to be made must be made at this time as well. The project manager, the general manager, and any necessary subcontractor must work together to complete this. In closeout phase, we have further classified it as approvals from authorities. Then it is further classified into smaller packages. Then comes the closeout of all contracts, then demobilization. Then comes the operation phase. Operation involves day-to-day activities and procedures that ensures smooth functioning and performance. A special team is needed that makes sure of smooth operations. In that it is further classified as appointment of agencies for operations and maintenance. Then inspecting of all the infrastructure facilities. Then comes the maintenance work. It is the responsibility of developer to appoint a maintenance team that will be looking out for day-to-day operations and maintenance. There can be several works even after finishing construction that will require a team to look after. In that comes the all the civil infrastructure work. That comes the electrical work, landscape maintenance, plumbing work, etc. Planning and development stage. This stage will include the procurement of consultant, contractors, and suppliers. Also, the design phase, which includes the preparation of the drawing necessary for the smooth execution of the project. In this phase, the master planning is done, and all the procurement of consultants like design consultant, structural consultant, everything is covered in this stage. Then comes the execution stage. The execution phase will mainly have the pre-construction activities and construction activities. The work packages in the construction phase are limited to the scope of the project. The scope of the project includes the preparing the land for non-agricultural activities, construction of roads including a 24-meter wide approach road and 18-meter wide internal roads, plotting the site, construction of boundary walls, parking space for the trucks, landscape work, stormwater drainage works. Also includes civil work packages like construction of admin building, security cabins. A cost breakdown structure is a hierarchical representation of project's cost. The cost breakdown structure represents the cost of work breakdown structure components. The cost breakdown structure is an essential tool for managing the project's life cycle, particularly the financial aspect of any project is by establishing a framework for implementing measurable cost control. It is a key component for the feasibility study and aids in keeping record of money flow. The total cost of the project is 469 crores, in which 84% is in inception stage, that is acquisition of land, that is 369 crores. Then comes the planning and development stage, that costs around 26 crores. Then comes the execution stage, that is around 48 crores. Then comes the closeout stage, that is 5 crores. And then comes the operations and maintenance for 1 crore, that is 2 crores 60 lakhs. And we have taken 5% contingency. Here we have shown the cost breakup of inception stage. All activities that occur in the initial level of a project execution are included in the inception stage. It all starts with the project proposal, which includes establishing the need and scope of the project and project preparation, followed by the hiring of a feasibility consultant to conduct the feasibility study. This stage also involves land acquisition and getting necessary approvals for establishing an industrial park. After that, we calculated the total timeline of the project, that is 1062 days. It includes 400 days of operations and maintenance, 280 days. In this, you can see inception stage is around 282 days. Then comes the planning and development stage, that is around 400 days. Then comes the closeout stage, that is 287 days. Then comes the operations and maintenance, that is 410 days. Here the pie chart shows the representation of cost breakup of consultants and cost breakup of the project. For all the costs, we have talked with various consultant and execution. For execution, we have contacted various contractors and got the quotation for this particular project. Financial feasibility. Financial feasibility is a necessary to find out whether the proposed project is financially viable or not. The assumptions made for this project are the developer is funding the whole project. The plots are sold at rupees 7,000 per square yard with an inflation of 8% every year. It is assumed that the selling of industrial plots will start from the year 2023, that is when the construction will commence on site, and the selling pattern will be 40% in 2023, 20% each in 2024 and 5, and 10% in 2026 and 2027. The industrial plots will completely be sold out by 2027. Revenue generated from O&M charges is rupees 35 per square yard with an inflation of with an interest rate of 7% per year. And this is the cash inflow. For the sources of cash inflow, operations and maintenance charge and revenue from selling of lots is calculated. And for cash outflow, inception stage, procure, planning and development stage, execution, closeout, and O&M stage for 20 years is calculated. As per the calculation, the IRR of the project is coming as 24.73. The IRR, internal rate of return, is a financial metric used to evaluate the profitability of an investment. It represents at the discount rate at which the net present value of cash flow equals the initial investment. The higher IRR indicates a more attractive investment opportunity, that is that in this case. Then comes the net present value. The net present value is coming as 40 crores 75 lakhs 87,763. The net present value is a financial metric used to evaluate profitability of an investment. It calculates the present value of expected cash inflows and outflows over time, discounted at a specified rate. A positive NPV suggests that the investment is expected to generate value, while a negative NPV indicates potential losses. NPV considers the time value of money, reflecting that a rupee today is worth more than a rupee in the future. Assumptions made in the financial feasibility are as per the site conditions. As of end of the 2023, 40% of the plots have been sold, and the operations and maintenance charges are confirmed with various consultants. Now I would like to conclude all the topics that we have covered in this presentation. So I'll start with cost breakdown. A cost breakdown structure is vital in project management as it facilitates accurate cost estimation and budgeting, enables effective resources allocation, tracking and decision making. Cost breakdown is derived with the help of work breakdown structure. In this project, the total cost came around rupees 470 crores. Then comes the feasibility study. A thorough analysis of cost, returns, and potential risk allows stakeholders to determine the project's viability and make strategic choices to ensure successful and sustainable outcomes. In this project, the IRR value came as 24.73% and the project is found to be financially viable even though it is fully funded by the client. Then comes the stakeholder management. It is essential to align project objectives, communicate effectively, mitigate risk, and ensure project success by addressing the diverse needs and interests of key stakeholders. The client has the highest power, interest, influence, and impact on the project and needs to be managed closely. Then comes the risk management. In the risk management, we identified 73 risks and the severity of each risk was calculated. Response to it were identified some of the legal risks like related to land, title, and change of use of land. Operation risk like maintenance of all the amenities have the highest severity. Then comes the work breakdown structure. It also helps in identifying risk involved in the project and estimating the total cost of the project. Based on this, the project schedule was prepared and it is analyzed that 1062 days for project completion.